race shapes matter even in short fields, and this is one that we could have capitalized on. Now, the battle early is going to be between the 1 and the 8. And I want to start the 8 because the 8 is more of a presser, but with some of the scratches will elevate to more of an early runner. So when we go through here, we can look at 3 back, 22 and 4/5 seconds to the first call, 45 and 4/5 to the second call, took it gate to wire, even got challenged out of the turn into the stretch before holding on to win. What I want you to do, though, is look to see that the 1 is not as fast. And the win last time out came going 2 turns at Fairgrounds. And when we look right here, it was against a very slow pace. And that's pretty evident when you see 48 and 3/5, 113 and 2/5. Look over here, though, at the E1 and E2 pace of that race. 79 and an 81. When we go down here to the 8, we can see 91 and 94 E1, E2. The 1 is going to be taken out by this 8 horse. So what I did in here was use the 8's sprint line in here of the win 3 back and use that to see who can run to these fractions. Now, the 2's a pretty quick toss when we look at it. We can see last time out, facing a 45 and 3/5 second call, nowhere to be found late. We see the win all the way down here at the bottom was against 45 and 3/5. That's a maiden race. Since then, hasn't done a whole lot of competitive running. The only other competitive line in here, we see 46 and 1/5 second. Good enough for third. Pretty easy toss in here. Now, the 4 is the horse that I had in here as the A horse. And I'm not big on maiden winners next time out, but a meet like Keeneland is one where a conventional handicapping angle like that, you kind of have to just throw out the window because all these horses are very well meant. But what I want you to see is the pace line. 22 seconds to the first call, 45 and 2/5 to the second call. Holds positioning, loses half a length, but then draws off to win that maiden race. The key, though, is that the 4 faced the fastest pace and ran the highest speed figure out of anyone in here. What this race ended up doing, though, was set up a key daily double in pick 3 for me on opening day. And what I'm looking for in horizontal wagering is being able to eliminate the favorite in the first leg. And we were able to do that because the 1 was an even money shot favorite that I don't understand why or how again. All I know is that the way I'm looking at this race is that the 1's going to be taken out by the speed of the 8. And when we go through here, looking at the daily double and the pick 3, you'll see that in the 4th race, we were able to eliminate the top 4 betting choices. Then in the 5th race, which was an open race with a legit favorite, we were able to spread some more in there and catch the favorite to win, which we did feel was a serious threat to win. But first off, let's get to the 4th race, because this 4th race was a classic pace makes the race sort of situation. And what I want to first draw you to is look at where the horses need to be to win their running race. The 1 needs to be in front to win. The 3 needs to be in front to win. The 4 needs to be in front to win. The 5 needs to be in front to win. The 8 needs to be in front to win. And the 9 needs to be in front to win. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 horses that need to get to the front to win. To me, that means we need to be looking at the off-the-pace runners, and there's only 2 of them in here, and the 6 and 7 are those runners. What we need to look for first is if they can pass horses. That's the most key ingredient to backing a presser. Can the 6 pass runners? And yes, he does. We can see 4th, 4th, 3rd, gets up to win last time out. Can the 7 pass runners? 3rd at the first call, draws along to win the race by a neck. Now we need to look at the beaten lengths as well. Can the 6 cut in the beaten lengths? Well, yeah, we see that last time out. Length and a half off to neck before winning by 2.5 lengths. The 7, same thing. A length off, comes in first, gains actually 2 lengths in all reality because makes up the 1 here to then draw ahead by a length before holding on late to win. This is a very dangerous pattern to identifying horses, and one that gives reassurance to you that they can handle the pace of tiring front runners. Now, as far as betting, this was a race that I did have win bets on, And it's because the 6 was 9-1 and the 7 was 12-1. Bet them both to win the race, and we see it how it unfolds. It's a massive early scramble. The first call was in 21 3/5 seconds. Fell apart from there, and the 7 just keeps on passing and cutting into the leaders. Pace 27:48. The double paid 44:63. Now, to close out this pick 3 is a turf sprint. And normally I'd say it's logical to key in on who can run the 5.5 furlongs the fastest. And pace normally isn't as big of a factor in these races. But the difference is that out of the 4 early runners, 2 of them can match first call times, and you're going to have 2 more of them right there that are vying for the front. And I felt that the 11 was the best early speed in here. You can see the underlines already at the second race here. 21 1/5, 44 seconds flat to the second call. But let's look at that 21 1/5 second first call time with the other earlies in here. Starting with the 6, you see the 22 seconds flat in the last 2 races at the first call in there. The 9 is the horse that I'm saying can match the first call time. If you see 2 back, 21 2/5 to the first call and challenged by a head there. So he for sure, or she, excuse me, is for sure one that wants to get to the front. And then the 10 last time out, even though on the dirt, 21 3/5 going to be right up there. So we're going to have 4 horses that want to get to the front to win this race. And if you're a matchup handicapper, I think this is a classic other than early race. We're looking for anybody coming off the pace to win this race. And the mark's going to be that 44-second flat right here by the 11 horse for us. So now when we go through here, I went wide with the horses in here. And a lot of it was because of the previous 2 races being very, very narrow and very targeted. Starting with that 3rd race, we knew we were against the favorite. And then last race, tossing all the early speed in there to target the 2 pressers. So, and in all reality, this was a very competitive race in here. And one that I felt that you did have to go wide in here because there were some pretty logical horses in here. But starting with the 1, we see 2 races back on the turf, facing 44 seconds at the second call. Good enough for 5th. A pretty easy toss in here for me as far as that's concerned. The 2, we see 2 races back, 44 4/5 to the second call. That was good enough to get her the win. Other than that, not a whole lot against faster fractions. And we see the only other win down here at the bottom was against the 45 2/5 seconds that she was able to press to go on the win. Not a whole lot to really cling on to this runner for. The 4 was a horse that I had as an A. I think you have to dissect this Kentucky Downs race last time out. And what I want you to look at is the first and second call pace in here of a -11. This is a horse that wants to come from well off it and needs some pace in front of her to win. And that's apparent when you look at the race 2 back, 44 3/5 seconds for the win at Saratoga. The race before that, Ellis, 44 seconds flat, 21 2/5 to the first call actually. And that's a pretty comparable pace line of what we're looking for in here today with all this early speed. The race last time out, I'm willing to excuse because there wasn't a whole lot of early pace in there for her to run into. And that's the same sort of thought process I had with this 5 coming out of the same race. She's someone that wants to come from well off of it. And she was able to do that, and she got up for 3rd in here. But she needs pace in front of her to win these races. So that's where I'm thinking, who are 2 horses that at odds can improve in here today? And you see the 4 is 10-1. The 5 was 6-1 on the morning line. We didn't get that at all. We got 7-2 here on the 4. And then the 5 ended up going off as the 3-1 favorite, which is that legitimate favorite I was talking about earlier. The other thing worth mentioning is that when you look all the way down here the first time on the turf at Ellis Park, even though it was a maiden race, 5.5 furlongs was able to win. So we know that she's able to get this distance to win, even though she's coming out of all these routes on the turf. Sprinting looks to be the right thing to do in here. And again, at 6-1, that's why I had her as an A horse. Didn't expect to get 3-1, but was a legitimate favorite in this race. The 6 we've touched on. The 8 is our next presser to look at. And jumping off the page as the B horse, last time out, 21 seconds to the first call, 44 seconds flat to the second call. Ends up winning in there. A horse that's very logical and one that I think is as simple as this. You have to include but at that 9-2 is what had me put her as a B horse in this race. The 9 is the other early horse that we're looking to toss. 10 we're looking to toss as an early horse. The 11 is the other early horse in here that we're tossing as well, but did include as a C because she is the best early speed in here. And if she's able to bury all these early runners, I want to have that, I guess you could call it insurance on her with such heavy opinions in the first and second legs of this pick 3. Now, the 5 ends up winning this race, but what I want to do is go through here and look at how I played this pick 3 ticket because it was a conventional ABC ticket structure for me. What I want you to see first off is that you could have hit this ticket multiple times, and if playing aggressively on your A's with the increased bet size that comes along in betting in an ABC manner, you would have hit this multiple times. But for example's sake, I kept everything at the base 50-cent wager of how tickets looked if you bet using this chart. So ticket 1 would be AAA, which was the ticket that we ended up hitting. Ticket 2 was BAA. Ticket 3 was ABA. Ticket 4 was AAB. Ticket 5 was BBA. Ticket 6 was BAB. Ticket 7 was ABB. And then ticket 8 was ACA. And ticket 9 was AAC. So using those tickets, the cost of a base 50-cent wager for each ticket would have been $10.50. If you went caveman route using all, it would have been $16. And another method that I don't think gets talked about a whole lot, at least I don't see it, is A with all. So we press our A horses in each leg with all in the other slots horizontally. And that would be all in for $24 with this sequence. And that would be the 4 with 4, 6, 7, 8 with 4, 5, 8, 11. Then ticket 2 would have been 4, 8 with 6, 7 with 4, 5, 8, 11. And then the third ticket would have been 4, 8 with 4, 6, 7, 8 with 4, 5. Each of those tickets would have cost exactly $8.